What's up, people? You have found the KO Report. I'm Scott Killian. This week, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to talk about a video game. That's right, NASCAR Heat 5, the fifth installment of this series by 704 Sports, and I'm going to let you know if it's a KO or OK. Stick around. Welcome back to another installment of the KO Report. I'm glad you're here. While you're here, take a moment and hit that subscribe button. We could always use some help. I've wanted to bring up a new video game that came out a few weeks ago. I was going to do it the day it came out, but the more I thought about it, I was like, I want to get some time under it. And I played it for a week, week and a half, then I went on vacation, and then I came back and played it a little bit yesterday, but I want to do a review on it, and this will be my first video game review. I don't dedicate a lot of time to video games. I don't have it with the job that I have and the family and the things that are going on. It's just, for me, it's a way to decompress and step away from the news, work, things going on at home, and if I get some time, that's what I do. I don't watch a whole lot of TV unless it is something sporting related. And there's no sports on right now. The sports that are on right now are terrible. Everything this year has just gone sideways. That's the way I just look at it. 2020 is a washout. But I wanted to talk about the NASCAR Heat series. And honestly, after the fourth installment, I wasn't going to buy another one, but it had my boy Chase Elliott on it. And I'm going to give it a shot. The first installment of NASCAR Heat was atrocious. It was probably 10 years lagging in graphics and depth and content and just all around playability. I remember I had it for 4 months and took it in and traded it for something else. It was terrible. EA Sports used to have the NASCAR series games for both PlayStation and Xbox, and they quit it when the series was getting a little dull, attendance was dropping. I'm sure the game wasn't moving as well, so it had declined as well. So they quit making it, and there was several years without a NASCAR game. And I'm not a huge NASCAR fan by any means. I watch it because occasionally I get to meet some people. I get to go to some races. I've been fortunate. I live where I live. I'm close to Bristol. I'm close to Martinsville. I'm close to Charlotte. So I've been to each of those tracks and checked out a few things. So it's kind of neat. But the second year that NASCAR Heat came out was a little better. It was definitely a step in the right direction, but still lacking. The third year, it finally reached a point where it's like, okay, this is where you should have been 2 years ago when you came out. Then last year was NASCAR Heat 4. I like the graphics. The career mode could use a little bit of tweaking. I wish the money that you win while running the series as a career, you can buy, you can train your crew, you can speed up your pit crew with the different training and get faster or more horsepower, better aerodynamics, things of that nature. But I wish it was a little bit more detailed to where you're actually having to buy money for tires and fuel at your at each race. So it's not there. But NASCAR Heat 4 was a lot better than the previous versions. So enter NASCAR Heat 5. We'll show it here on the screen, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you. Cut, copy, paste. It is the exact same game as NASCAR Heat 4, just a different cover, different load screens. And I'm going to show you that here on the screen in just a moment and explain to you why it's actually got a longer load screen in between setup and playtime. They knew what they were doing, but it is aggravating. Honestly, probably the last year I buy this. 704 Games, I've never even heard of them. 704 is the area code for Charlotte. So maybe it's something local down there that's, you know, trying to make a development game and running with it, but it's still got a ways to go. So let's look at the screen and I'll explain a few things to you there. So the load screen for the startup of the game, just put a 4 here. It's the same. 704 Games. Almost looks like the Charlotte skyline in the background when it came on there before the binary code came up. It is a different intro here. Get some volume on it. Boo! Now when I say cut, copy, paste, this is almost the same screen as the other. And hit start. This to me is ridiculous. Why do you need to sign into the game each time? This is the only game I have ever that you have to sign in once, because you sign into your account with your game system. But the load time is terrible. We'll continue career. I'm on my 3rd season, so I have put some time into it. You can do race now, race modes, my cars, my driver, online multiplayer. You can go in and edit your driver. Looks nothing like me, but there's not a lot of options. So if we go into career mode, even the soundtrack for 5 versus 4 is the exact same soundtrack. I mean, they literally went in and changed the bare minimums. So all of this could have been done honestly with a patch update from the game over line. So all right, so I'm in the truck series. I went through the dirt series. That's aggravating. You can't control those cars. So I won the championship there. So I went ahead and moved up. I do operate as an owner versus driving for somebody else, and that's just what I choose to do. You get your car set up, go to the event, click A. Now here's where I was talking about the load screens being longer. It does talk about the name of the race that you're doing, and then you get this loaded. Fanatec.com. They have a steering wheel that shows on an ad. The next time it'll be a shifter, and then the time after that it'll be a 3 foot pedal, gas, brake, and clutch that they are trying to push through Fanatec.com. And this is something that was not on the previous model. There was no outside advertising that way, but this load time is a full 2 seconds longer than the previous version. But you can look at the setup here. The graphics are decent. They're still very cartoonish versus lifelike. That's something that this series has never really hit on greatly, is the fact that they're cartoon characters. Now, when I mention, I won't practice, but we'll go in and do a qualify. You do have different angle views. This would be front bumper. That'll actually straighten up there as you go that way. So that would be high cockpit. above the roof of the car and then a little bit higher. This is the view I like the best. You can toggle those with your right button on an Xbox controller. You can see the mirror here at the top. You can turn it on and off. You can hit a button and check your stats up in the top corner for lap info, your previous lap, your best lap of this race, and then your record lap at this particular track. Now, as I'm talking and playing and kind of taking my hands off of to show you things, I'm not going to do very well. I'll come in last on this. The goal time was set at 25:204. I got 26. I placed 26th in the running. Oh, wouldn't last actually, so better than I thought. So now we'll start up the race itself. You can make some adjustments here in the top right corner for car setup to make it tighter or loose. Go on in. Gives you a recap of some of the AI players. All the photos that are used. This one's different from him from last year, but a lot of the photos of the guys or girls that are on here are the same as last year too. So they didn't even go out to scout and recruit new pitchers. So we'll run this, ready to go green. If you look in the top right corner, I'm in 26th of 32. The goal to finish this race is 15 for my sponsor to pay me a bonus. And on the upper left hand corner, we're on lap 1 of 26. Here's some of the toggles. If you look at that top left hand corner of different things, I'm 2.9 seconds behind the leader. My record lap here is 26:220. I'll fast forward through the race to keep from boring you. Now I do have, before we start fast forwarding, show you, I have it set up to where I'm using 4 times the tire wear and fuel consumption, and I'm only running 13% of a traditional race. So that does allow me to not spend too long on the race or on the game per race and still use the pitting options. I have the caution flag set to strict yellow. You can set it to relaxed or no flags at all, and there's no fun in that. But you can see I have an estimated 12 laps of fuel left up in the left hand corner, and you can tell how the tires are wearing as you go. And the yellow line there is where I keep bumping people. He's about to wreck. Get away from him. So these are some things that they had in the game that was missing from the first couple of years. One of the biggest things that they didn't have that was for me is down here in the lower left hand corner, where you can see where you are on the track versus the leader is on the track. Gives you an idea if you're about to get lapped or if you're in lap traffic. It took them to, I want to say, the 3rd installment to actually add that feature, and to me that seems to be basic need to know type things. So I will stop here with the chatter and run this race. There's a car wrecking in front of me. Look at that. So that'll call for a caution, and here's a chance to pit. Laps remaining is 21. I have 10 laps worth of fuel left. My right side tires are running down a little bit, and you can see everyone else is pitting. So yeah, I'll go ahead and pit as well. And it would just fast forward me to this. But if it was going into the pits under green, you actually see the pit crew, and I'll do that here in a moment. You'll see the pit crew come over the wall and actually change your tires, put your fuel in the machine, and get you going. And I call them machines because these aren't trucks. Get off the apron. Driving inside the yellow line there on the apron will is very slick. You can build friends and enemies in this by bumping them or by drafting with them. Obviously, bumping them and wrecking them, they will become enemies, and they will slam into you in some of the races to try to pay you back. They won't necessarily go out of their way, but as you're going by them, they will come up and tap you a little bit. Very rarely do they wreck you to a point where it's going to cause a caution flag, but they make it a little bit more difficult, but it's not impossible to get around them. But if you get behind someone in draft, you can just really feel it. There was one series with EA Sports, you could actually see the air coming off the car in front of you. That was neat because it changed colors as your drafting got better. It went from a red to an orange to a yellow to a green to a blue, and the closer you got to them, the darker blue it got, I believe, and it looked like a wind tunnel that you were running through, and it would let you know how strong you're drafting versus here. The vibration just changes a little bit. So if you, I don't know if I can catch up with them quick enough to, here we go. Oh, I'm passing. By the way, I know either my daughter or some folks from church will ask me why Hooters is my sponsor, and I did not pick, well, I did pick that. I had two options. I had that and some company I never heard of, and this sponsor, look at that, I'll pit again, so we're not going to be able to pit under green. I'll show that in a moment. But here I dropped 6 spots by pitting. Never makes sense why everyone's pitting under caution, how you can drop that many places, but maybe they took less tires, the pit crew's better than mine, I have no idea. But back to the sponsor, I had 2 choices and this one paid more, so that's why I'm driving a Hooters truck. If you have an ally or a friend that's drafting behind you, you'll get a slightly different vibration in the controller. And just above the lower left-hand screen where the track, you see the cars going around the track, it'll tell you who's behind you drafting and pushing you. That way you know it's a friend versus an enemy. Another recommendation I would have for this would be knowing who your friends and enemies are. Like you can see I'm behind the 14th car there. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I don't watch enough to follow it. I'm following back though. But I would like to see where he's in that 14th spot. If he's a friend or an ally, it'd be a green. And if he was someone that I have bumped into or have some beef with from previous races, it'd be a red. And then it changed shades of green and red based off of how your relationship is with them. That's something I think that the game could use. You do have spotters talking to you. They're somewhat useless. And broke the top 10. If I hold on to it or not. Yeah. This track's Iowa. Never been there. I've been to the state, but never been to the racetrack. Speed rating. I have no idea what that does. What you use it for. It's been on every year, and there's never an explanation as to what it is, other than maybe how well you did out of a possible 99. So driver results came in 9th for the season. There's my race earnings. You can use that money to buy another vehicle. You start with one, and you can set it up for short track, long track, road course. You can use it to upgrade your pit crew and train them. Looks like I'm 21st in the standings for the truck racing, and this is the, like I said, I'm in the 3rd season. The first 2 seasons I think I was dirt track only, so it's my first season in the trucks. I'll take that. I'll move up with it as we go. Get some stats there that are who won the race, who had the most lead laps, who had the fastest lap. Show you real quick an actual pit stop. Now there's the full setup. When we talk about the Fanatec, a lot of times they'll show this only, this only, this only, and then here's the whole package. I would never find that entertaining. I could see the pedals moving on the floor, the shifter moving wherever you're going to put it, and the steering wheel being, I guess, a teenager or younger would find a use for that. All right, let's just we'll skip practice. Never do that anyway. I'm going to skip qualifying this time, and we'll start the race. Just want to show you a quick pit stop under green, so you can see what the pit crew does. A little bit better. Okay, so here it's set for a default 2 cans of fuel and 4 tires. I have no repair, so it won't add any time to it. You can change your tape and wedge and your tire pressures. I'm guessing that makes a change. I've fooled with them a little bit, up and down, minimal, and really I think the default is set up best. So your team's coming over. Now if there's more cars doing, they'll run right through each other. They just turn into ghost cars. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here, and we'll wrap this up. So a final conclusion on 704 Games NASCAR Heat 5. It's barely okay. So we will wrap it up there. Hope you guys have a great day. Once again, take a moment to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up. If you got any comments, leave those. Be glad. I try to reply to every comment that comes through. And we do have our first food review that's not a food truck coming up later on. I'm going to be making a trip out to a restaurant, one of my favorites. So there's a sneak peek on it. So thanks for watching. You guys stay safe. Take care.